it's kind of an informal type talk.
That's
We'll
fine.
go along and look at some plants and talk about how they were used for medicine by people in their homes in the 1830s.
Sounds
Okay.
wonderful.
Right there. Native American plants growing in here. And so it's always fun to talk about their medicinal uses. When English colonists and colonists from other countries came here in the 18th century and before, what they brought with them were selections of trusted plants that they had always used. They wanted to be sure they had everything they needed for treating all kinds of illnesses. But there was a general belief on the part of most people that plants were put where they would be needed. And so if you had some illness that was particular to an area, that there would probably be a plant in that area that had been put there designed for that use. And because people felt that way about plants, that inspired them very much to consult the Native American people about the plants they found in the New World, because they suspected that they might run into some medical problem here that their Old World plants might not work well for. And so they added on very quickly plants from the Native American repertoire, and also some of those plants became very valuable exports. And one of the really valuable ones was the tree that you see right here, and that's the sassafras tree. Now, the gentleman I was just talking to was asking me if we had sassafras in the garden, because he was familiar with it growing up, and it's the plant that was the original source of the flavor of root beer. And one of the things he remembered about it, he didn't immediately recognize it when he looked at this tree, but when he saw this small one right here, he knew it right away. And I had been through the same experience myself. The small sassafras trees, I learned how to identify it when I was a Girl Scout years and years ago. The small trees are easy to identify because they have three shaped leaves on a single plant. So this plant has this simple elliptical shaped leaf. It also has, looking for the mitten leaf. There should be one in here. It also typically will have a leaf shaped like a mitten. Yep, there's a mitten right there.
Okay.
And then it will also have these three-parted leaves. So all three leaf shapes will exist on the same plant. The interesting thing, though, is that as the tree matures and gets older and older, it tends to have more and more of just that elliptical shaped leaf. So when you look at the canopy of this large sassafras tree here, you pretty much just see that one single shaped leaf on it. And that's just because it's a mature specimen. So the part of the plant that's useful is its root. And I was digging this one the other day because I wanted to, I don't want a big tree growing right in this spot, so they come up from little suckers, from roots from the larger tree. So I was going to remove this one, and I want to keep it on hand to use it when I do talks and tours. So I wanted to dig it up with as much of the root as I could easily get out. So the root is the part of the plant, the root and the woody twigs of the plant. So with sassafras, it is the woody portions of the plant that are most often used. And if I clean it up and then just simply scrape it, in fact, you can probably smell it. Okay, do you recognize the smell? And the amazing thing about a sassafras root is that I'll be able to keep this root now and just keep it on hand with our garden supplies, take it out every time I want to do a talk about this plant. If I just make a fresh scraping on it, people will still be able to smell that sassafras. The richest source of the sassafras is its root. Its root. And it was used for a number of things. This became a really valuable export back in the 1600s because European people learned from Native American people that one of the uses of this plant was to treat venereal diseases. And they were looking for a treatment for that. And so the governments of countries like Spain and Italy that were sending explorers here paid them extra money to bring back sassafras because it was considered very valuable. Ordinary folks would typically use this plant to make a root beer, and they might use it by itself, particularly in the spring of the year. They would dig the roots and cut them up, but they also combined it with the roots of other plants. And so over here, mixed in with our lily of the valley, is this plant, and this one's called sarsaparilla. There is a European plant called sarsaparilla, and this plant is similar in many respects to it. So this was called the wild sarsaparilla, and its root also was frequently combined with the root of the sassafras tree to make root beer. And both of these were spring beverages. It was regarded as something that would be tonic. It would be restore your system. So in the spring of the year, after you had been not so active and were of lax habit, there were a number of things that people thought you should do to get yourself ready for the summer season of more work. And one of them was to make a tonic. And we can talk about some of the other things when we visit some of the other plants down here. But these were a couple of Native American plants that were used.